People want to compare themselves to others everywhere in their lives to find out what is valuable to themselves. It's not even like trying to find out what's valuable to society, or for example, how someone trying to make a company might try to figure out where there's an actual demand for a product or service. That's rooted in basically pure reason. If you're trying to think, oh, like, I want to make a business, and you're thinking, well, everybody has grass on their lawns, I could cut it. But the rat race stuff, it's mimetic desires, things that people copy from other people that don't have a whole lot of intrinsic value. And I think that's a huge part of the way people approach World of Warcraft these days. And an example of this could be in 2019, at the very start of 2019, most people didn't log their raids. This probably sounds stupid, but if you got to level 60 in the first couple weeks because you're an autistic freak like me, you would know that most of the raids at the very start of 2019 weren't logged. And most people didn't know that speedrunning was a thing, and they definitely didn't know that parsing was a thing. And I remember hearing about the idea of speedrunning, and I just thought, I'm going to use the in-game timer. I just like click over here, and I would start the timer at every MC at the first pull. And I'd be excited that our raids would get faster. And I considered myself a speedrunner. And we didn't log the raids, and I had a whole lot of fun. And I thought, this makes the raids are faster, then probably they're going to be more smooth. And then there's still the little bit of the mimetic desire part of thinking that improving at something is always important. But there's a lot of good reasons to want your raid to be faster. It's not just a meme. But nowadays, I think that almost everything that everybody approaches in the game, including myself, is it's a fucking meme. It's like we're just looking at other people trying to do similar things and one up them. And some of this could be the desire to get loot. People really want to get loot, and who would have thought they really want to get the most desirable loot? But the most desirable loot quite often doesn't have much of a statistical difference from pieces that are incredibly easy to get. It's like, why do people want it? You don't want the Onslaught Girdle because it has 1% more hit than the alternative. You want the Onslaught Girdle because really cool, fabulous people are given Onslaught Girdles. Those people are so important. They're so important. The Loot Council picked that they're going to get it. That's, I think, the reason people are after most things. They have deep down some desire that's like that. And World of Warcraft used to not be this way. I remember the very first raid I ever did. I was like 11 or 12 years old, and I was playing a hunter. I had just gotten to level 70 in TBC, and I applied to join a random guild on a website. Yeah, guilds used to have websites. I have no idea how this happened. It's like unbelievable. But I go on this website, and they have a form, and you just can type some stuff into it to apply. And I just type, I'm like a 70 hunter, and I am interested in starting raiding. I don't know how it works. And I hit submit, and then I get a message in game a few days later from Jibbathy, a warrior that I had leveled with on and off over like a year. And I just bumped into this guy on different characters he'd played. And he told me, hey, so you remember we used to level? And we'd level with Night Dreamer and Heaven's Fire. I was like, yeah, I remember those guys. And he's like, well, crazy. That guild you applied to, all three of us kept playing, and we're all officers in that guild now. And it's a pretty good guild. And you're in, because you know us. It's fine that you don't know anything. And so I've never played in a raid, ever. Not even Karazhan. And this is before, this is late enough in the game that SSC didn't have an attunement, otherwise I wouldn't be able to just walk in. So I walk in there and I have a lot of PvP gear on, because I liked Battlegrounds. And I remember the experience so vividly. I show up there. I had just leveled alchemy because I thought that potions sounded good for a raid. And I show up to my first raid, and I hand elixirs of agility, the ones that gave crit and agility, whatever their name is, to a few people, other hunters. And then I'm like, hey, I don't know how this works. Like, I don't want to mess stuff up. And then this guy told me, stand next to my character, you won't wipe the raid. I'm like, that's it? He's like, yep, stand next to my character, you won't wipe the raid. Just stay right next to me all night long. And I did that. And things were great. And I played with these people until midway to Ulduar. Just like years and years straight playing with the same people, and we'd slowly get better over time. And we didn't compare our raid performance to other people. And we were pretty serious because doing SSC even when Black Temple was out back in the day was pretty serious. It meant you were a pretty committed group. We probably spent 9 to 12 hours a week in raid. I would I would pretend I was going to bed early so that way I could sneak on the computer and get more game time so my parents wouldn't know. And I did that for like years straight so I could get more game time with these fucking people that I played with. And if we were outside a raid, we'd do things that were fun, like very exploratory gameplay. Like, let's go do Underbog. Let's see if we can take a different route through the dungeon this time for the hell of it. And it's like, yeah, that sounds cool. No purpose. Just do it. Go to SSC, do a boss a different way for no purpose, not to do more damage, just for the hell of it. And that's how most things were. And it was incredibly fun. And we didn't compare ourselves to other raid groups. And we got better over time. We got more serious. And by the time Wrath came around, we were actually a pretty good guild. But we never thought of it that way, ever. It was just... we were just living in the moment, having a good time. And then I remember that I became aware that there was achievements for server firsts. And I'm like 14 or 15. So I'm fucking retarded, of course. And I start thinking, maybe this game would be more fun if I played more seriously. And so I make the insane decision to stop playing with these people where I've had an amazing experience the whole time through. And we've just been winging it. We've just been doing whatever. And I go join a very regimented group ran by a bunch of, at the time, they were college students, and I'm like a sophomore in high school or a junior or something. I go do one raid in Ulduar, and I can still remember how this went. We're doing Yogg-Saron, and one of the tanks walks through a gas cloud, spawns an ad, gets to super low health, and I land hands him, and the raid leader just starts yelling at me right away that I wasted the land hands too early. And I'm just like, yeah, you know what? I'm like the dumbest person I've ever met. This is what I left my guild for. This is it. What a reward. Now I'll be able to get server first and I can play with these fucking losers. And I just like quit the game like on the spot, basically. I felt like the biggest idiot ever. What was I doing? Why did I value this thing just because other people did? I didn't realize it at the time. I knew it was stupid that I wanted the server first. I didn't realize why it was so stupid. And then I went on to play other games, and I had the same experiences. Like, played League. Played with people who were silver. I got better. I had to ditch them. I never even got any good. Got to, like, gold 1. Quit the game. It's no fun not playing with friends anymore. Your friends hold you back. Can't have that. Go play Dota. Get to like 5k Mars. Same thing. Cash in your friends. Let's get a higher rank. That makes sense. Counter-Strike, same deal. Got like Supreme. Had to stop playing with my friends. Oh, such a genius. Kept on making this mistake over and over and over again. And then I almost did this in World of Warcraft. Almost did this in World of Warcraft. Got close. Got really close a few times. But ended up not doing it as an adult, thankfully. And instead kind of wrote my own rules on what I was going to value. On accident, though, not because I'm like really smart. God, I wish I could control how I feel. That would be awesome, but I can't. I'm a little directionless insect like everybody else. And then that's a big problem in World of Warcraft. It's so hard to pick your own story on how you're going to play the game. And everybody kind of thinks they are. It's like, are the guys in the top guilds where they're bouncing around raid teams and their social groups implode all the time, they're not playing their own game. They're not. They're playing somebody else's game. The same way pro athletes are. Like, it's like some people probably imagine being in the NBA or MLB, and this isn't shit talk on those top guilds. Those guys are really impressive. It's fucking awesome what they do. Like, they learn real life skills trying to push themselves. But like, You'd have to be an idiot, for example, though, to want to be a professional athlete if you're not going to get paid for it. You would very quickly probably decide that it doesn't actually make sense. The fame wouldn't be worth the insane requirements. And that there's so many things like that, but like people see athletes and they think that like they want that life. Or we'll see people that in any arena that we deem as incredibly successful, and we'll think that we want to have the same experiences as them. And and maybe if we're like smart about it and we're like a little right, we might think we want to suffer the same way as them too, to like earn it. That's less psychotic. That's so rare. That's so rare. Like I would never do this, for example, although I wish I would. When I see people who can run their own business, I'm really impressed by it. I wish that I could go through the pain to get really good at sales and become the kind of person that could do that. I think it's really impressive. And I think that's not too insane of like a mimetic desire, even though it's like, well, why do you want to be good at sales? Why would it change my life? I don't know. I don't have a really good reason for that. But at least there's something a little real there. Whereas, although it's important to do better in the game over time, I think, because it's good for the stability of social groups, for your raids to be starting on time, even though I fucked that up a lot, and for your raids to be as good as possible, even though I fucked that up a lot. If you try to make it all about those numbers on the fucking website, you're just gonna be unhappy, almost for sure. And people get themselves into worrying about it too much all the time. And it's a shame how hard it is to control those desires to chase the things that other people are chasing. People do this with money, or I'm sure there's a lot of people that they make YouTube channels, and I mean, I'm guilty of this too. There's some like feeling of fame that comes from like getting people's attention, and that's a very obviously like kind of mimetic desire. It doesn't generally improve your life. Although I think in the case of my channel, it's made my life a lot better because I get to meet people. They like watch my videos and they want to join the guild, and I get to have crazy interesting conversations with them, get to know them, and then they raid with me, and so it's like I have lower churn amongst members in my guild, and that's good for raid performance, and it's also good for me emotionally because like I have a hard time like giving up friendships. And then there's goofy things too, where it's like you just get to feel self-important. I wish that the actually important things felt more important naturally in the real world and in the game. Like probably like the thing that I think is from when I played WoW as a kid, the thing that makes me the most impressed about the people I played with the first time in that first raid group, and how we weren't influenced by other people. Just like as a unit, we were not influenced by other people. I'm like the only one who like fucking was tempted by the devil and joined another group. Was that very first raid leader. His name was Mike, and I still talk to him. And it's been like 12 years. And that makes him the best raid leader in the world.